Hello, everybody. We are live. Amy, hi.
Hello, how are you this morning?
Good. Hannah is at a science fiction convention. We said, okay. So we've had this arranged for several months that Amy would come on in and pitch it, even though you're going to be with us next time during our special DeForest Kelley Remembrance Day.
Yep.
Amy has agreed to do twice this month. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for having me.
Well, we love having you. Absolutely love it. Do you have any joy rides to start us off with this morning?
I do. So speaking of conventions, my niece recently moved to Las Vegas. So in August, I am going to be attending the Vegas convention for the first time. I have never been to that convention before.
Wonderful.
Yeah, I'm super excited. And it was funny because when we, purchased our tickets, we were online together purchasing our tickets and buying photo ops. And, she kept putting people in her cart. And I'm like, okay, hold on, time out. As long as you live in Vegas, this is going to be an annual thing that we do. So slow down. You don't need to get them all right now.
Right. Right. I actually spoke at the Las Vegas convention. I think it was in 1996. I spoke about Dee. No, that was 96. It was 2006 because Dee had passed. Right. 2006, I was at this Las Vegas convention.
That's exciting. And how was it? Did you?
Oh my gosh, I've never spoken to so many people all at once in my life. I think there were somewhere between, they said 3,000 and 4,000 people in the audience.
Oh my goodness.
And I was very nervous at first, but then as soon as I walked out on stage and I could see everybody was there because they loved Dee so much, it just became like, oh, friends I haven't met yet.
Right.
It was really great. It was wonderful. I completely forgot, that I was even up there. I was just visiting with folks, and answering questions and stuff. Mm-hmm. I read a little bit out of my first book, and to let them know a little, as much more, a little bit more than they knew about Dee because they hadn't been his friend, that kind of a thing, and then I said, what would you like to know? And then they asked questions and I was able to answer them.
Oh, nice.
So it was great. I have a couple of joy rides. I got my tooth finally. I got my final implant after a year. Whoopee! So and also I have something to show you. A month ago, I think very briefly a month ago when we did the last Ever New, I brought out a little baby chick, because I got 12 chicks. Well, 3 weeks ago, I put them outside for the first time in a enclosed pen where the raccoons couldn't get at them.
Okay.
And I was really trying to tame them. Chickens are called chicken. I mean, people are called chickens because of how flighty chickens are. They're very, very afraid. I mean, everything can eat them, so they're really pretty nervous.
Right.
So unless they meet you right out of the egg and bond with you, they're kind of scared. And I didn't get them till they were about a week old. So they were pretty scared when they first got to me. Well, by the time I got them outside, I have some of them coming and sitting with me. So I have a couple of real quick videos to show you.
Cute.
So this is about 3 weeks ago.
All righty. I don't have bats in my belfries. Hi. Hi. You want to come down? What's happening? Huh? Why did you go up there? Where did you go up there? There you go. That's better. Come on over here.
Okay, you saw how little he was there. She was, right?
Right. Okay.
3 days ago, the first black chick you see is that chick, but look how much bigger they got. This is a little bit longer, but it's fun. It starts out with me calling the birds, but at about the 32nd thing, you'll start seeing them.
Let's see if I can. Okay, coming up. Are you coming up? Anybody want to come up? Come on up. Come on, see me. Coming up. Here, I better do this so you can see who I am. Hi, you want to come up? You want to come up? Come on. Well, come on. You're big. Come on. There you go. Come on up. Come on up. Come on. There you go. There you go. How are my babies? How are my babies? Huh? Are you doing good? Hi. How are you doing? What? How are you doing? Are you doing good? Hi. Come on. Come on and see me. Jump up. I want to go and jump up there. Go on, jump up there. Go on, jump up there. Go on. You can do it. You're big. You can do it. You're big. Yeah. Okay. What do you think? Hi. What's happening? Hi, what's happening? Num 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 nums. Hi, what's happening?
I guess that's all you really need to see. And if you want to see more, you go to my Facebook page. I put something up every few days.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I've seen those on your Facebook page. I find it so interesting that they weren't really eating the food. They were just like chatting with you.
They do. I can actually go out there and sit in a chair and offer them nothing. And they all, not all, but 4 to 6 of them will come up, fly on me all at once and just talk with me.
Right.
Yeah. They just talk.
That's
It's just
so
really
amazing.
very cool. I've seen images of, little girls and little boys, with hands running up to them. That's what I'm hoping will happen. And actually, when I go out there now, I just go, chickadellies. And no matter where they are, they come running right up to the fence. So I think they'll stay that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
fantastic. So we have 4 eyes. We don't have any comments. We have people coming in, though. Welcome, everyone who's coming. I know Helen is here. She told me a half hour ago she got up early in New Zealand. So she's up. Welcome, Helen. 'Tis me. What else? I'm going to announce, might as well do that right now since we don't have any comments at the moment. Let me announce who will be on the special Remembrance show on the 17th, 2 weeks from today. And these are not in alphabetical order. One of them is Amy. Amy.
I wish it was Patrick Stewart, not me.
It won't be Patrick, but it'll be Amy.
Oh, shoot.
She'll stand in for him. There we go.
Yes.
Thorsten Waltz, he is the gentleman who did the translation of my book into German. And it's doing really, really well. The reviews there are great. One lady who read both versions said he did a wonderful job, absolutely wonderful job on the translation, which, of course, I wouldn't know that. I presumed he would. The man is so dedicated to getting it right and loved Dee so much. I knew he would do his best efforts, whatever. But she said, he was masterful. It was absolutely a masterpiece of how he took your words, because she's fluent in both, and so is he, obviously, or he couldn't have done it.
Mm-hmm. That's fabulous.
Yeah. Another guest will be Dan Madsen. He has, if you go to IMDb, he has credits as long as your arm. He is both a Star Trek and a Star Wars fan. He did their many of their official publications, Star Trek and Star Wars. He ran Communicator. He ran just things for a long, long time. I've known of Dan. I've never yet met him. I've known of him for at least 35 years. And during one of his earliest publications, I think it was in Communicator, he had asked Dee, how would you like to be remembered? And Dee said, well, my first thought is I hope they will remember. There's nothing better than a dead actor. And I had written saying, he's being very humble. I mean, he will be remembered forever, those of us who knew and watched and loved him. And Dan Madsen actually published that little bit. Oh. And published another thing I had done too. So we've been in touch, but I've just never this will be my first chance to actually interact with him this next time. So that's going to be cool. Another guest is Larry Nemechek, and he's at LarryNemechek.com, Larry, NEMECEK.com. He's Trekland And he's also the gentleman who takes people on trips. If you go to LA and you want to see location shots, like where Amy was, Vasquez Rocks, where Dee did a lot of his Westerns and a lot of the Star Treks, he will actually take you on a location tour to show you where a lot of these things were filmed. So that's very, very exciting. The next guest is T. Rick Jones, and he interviewed me for Daily Star Trek News about a month ago. And he wants me to write a couple of things in the near future for him for his publication. I said I would be happy to do that. And then I asked him if he would like to be on this special edition. He said, oh, I would love it. I would absolutely love it. So he's also big into the acting world. His local theater group, he's been involved with them for like 25, 30 years. So you and he, Amy, will get along like gangbuster. That's the other thing I'd be doing if I wasn't doing what I'm doing. I love the theater.
Yeah.
So, of course, I think everybody is familiar with Denise and Michael Okuda. Michael Okuda did a lot of the special graphics work for almost every series. Well, as long as he's been alive and old enough to do it, he has been literally the person who designed the Enterprise graphics that you see on the ship and stuff, and Star Wars too. He's done more than that. Star Trek, Star Wars. Again, you have to go to IMDb to see what all he has done. But they will be here. And then the final guest is someone no one knows, but you're going to meet her for the first time, and so am I. She wrote to me about 6 months ago. Her name is Michelle Campbell. She has recently come in the last year an EMT, and she became an EMT because of she was inspired to enter some kind of a medical field as a result of Dr. McCoy's influence on her life. So she will be here too. I also have, I will tell you this, I don't know what's going to come of it. I've been trying to get in touch with Carl Urban, because when I met him at Comic-Con 5 years ago and I gave him one of Dee's neckerchiefs, he said one of the most wonderful little soliloquies about Dee, and I was hoping he would come on about how he tried so diligently to get McCoy right, although he didn't want to mimic DeForest Kelley. He wanted to get McCoy right, and I felt he did such a masterful job that Dee would have been thrilled. And I wanted to give him something of Dee's. I took through 3 or 4 scarves up. He chose the one he wanted and said, if we do another Star Trek, it will be in there. It will absolutely appear in the movie. So I'm hoping they will do another one. Right. And we've been in touch a little bit since then. Last month, one of my friends, Carl Urban was at a Australian convention, and one of my friends was there and mentioned me, and he said, will you please apologize to her that I haven't been able to get back to her. I'm just really sorry about that. He's just been so involved with his series. He hasn't had a moment for his personal life at all, although I didn't know I was part of his personal life. So anyhow, I'm hoping. I reached out to the New Zealand agency. They said contact the LA agency. I did. I just heard crickets from them. So then about a week ago, I reached back to New Zealand, and they said, hey, contact him on his social media. And I said, well, will you give me a legitimate one? Because I'm not sure which are legitimate and which are not. So they gave me his Instagram page, and I IM'd him there. And hopefully, no guarantees, no promises. Hopefully, if he can get away. I mean, since the writer's strike is on, he may be back in New Zealand just cooling his heels for a while he has the opportunity. So, and I know it's 5:30 in the morning. I don't know.
I was going to say we have a couple comments from our early risers over there.
Let's see who we got. That's Helen. Hi, Kris. Hi, Amy. Yes, I am here. Kiwi Wanderer. Is that Deborah? Who's Kiwi Wanderer? This is a new one for me. So please identify yourself, because I'm nosy. You don't have to, but it would be very wonderful. You're new. So I love to see newbies. Okay, Amy. It's Debbie. Okay, so this is Helen's best friend, Debbie. She just bought a new camper. So she's going up and down New Zealand like nobody's business trying out her new camper. So that's very cool. So I tell you what we'll do now. We will go back into here. I'm going to come down. Amy, did you have any additional stories you wanted to share about your Star Trek days?
Well, oh, just one, when you were talking about Michael, wait,
Okuda.
Akuda. Yeah, I was like,
Uh-huh.
my brain just had a little meltdown.
I thought
Okay.
Doran when you first said.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah, but when I first, so I don't even remember when this was, but sometime after 1994,
okay.
right? When the internet turned into the World Wide Web and went graphical, I started building web pages.
Mhm.
And one of the first web pages that I created was my Surfing with the Bard, which is all about Shakespeare.
Uh-huh.
And I have a section, I still have that website and still have a section on it about Shakespeare as seen in the Star Trek universe.
Mhm.
And one of the original pictures that I used was a screen capture of the Folger Shakespeare, or I mean, of the first folio,
Mhm.
Shakespeare's first folio in Captain Picard's ready room. And this was from like the digital, it was back when we still used DVDs.
Uh-huh.
And it was, I think, some compendium, Star Trek compendium or something. And so I did a screenshot of that and added that to my website. And Michael actually emailed me about it because he was like, oh, yeah, it's okay that you have this because really technically copyright, I should not
Uh-huh.
have done that. But back in the day, we didn't even think about things like that.
Right.
And so it was very nice that he gave me permission to use it. Eventually, through redesigns of the website, I quit using that image, but that's my little memory of Michael Akuda.
He's wonderful. They are both wonderful people. The one thing I do want to mention to you folks about copyright, if you really want to use something, reach out and ask the original. They'll rarely even charge you for it. They just want to know. They're happy to give, because after all, if you expose their works, then they're getting more exposure. I mean, unless they're just money grubbing folks, I've never, ever had anybody charge me for anything I used that I asked permission to use. It was just, oh, feel free, go ahead and do that.
Nice.
So don't worry about, I mean, do worry about copyright. You certainly don't want to get copyright. You don't want to, get a plagiarism or copyright violation against you. They do have something called DMC, takedown notice. So if you ever do inadvertently do something that's copyright, they will first warn you, take that thing down. You have 30 days. And if you don't, okay, we're going to throw the book at you. But it doesn't ever hurt to reach out and ask for somebody's permission to do something.
Yeah, I've gotten a lot of that over time with my Shakespeare website. A lot of teachers and students asking, oh, may I use this? And I'm like, of course, that's why I put it online in the first place. So,
correct.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people assume it is free. If it's online, it's free.
Yes.
But you really ask.
Right.
Really ask, because you can get into some kind of trouble.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anything else on any additional stories that you want to, or ones you want to repeat for any reason? Because not everybody who is here has heard your stories before.
Oh, right. Well, yeah, I don't know. Is there anything that, okay. So here's one, and I don't even know if this is not a story. This is like a wondering. So where was I? I can't remember. It was sometime recently. Oh, I know. I think it was in my department meeting at work yesterday. And I was, when we were doing our celebrations, and I was talking about being excited about going to the Star Trek convention. And one of my colleagues asked me, is there anyone I haven't seen or met yet that I would like to? And I really have to think about that, because I was kind of going through my head, and I'm like, I've met everyone from the original series main cast except for Dee. And that was the convention in Spokane where I was supposed to meet him. That's when he got sick. And I think that's the first time I met you. So I don't know. Did you come over to that one, or was the first
I
time
was
in
going
Seattle?
to, but I found out he was sick, and I didn't
And
go.
you didn't go. Okay, yeah. And they brought Marina Sirtis back, who she had been there the year before. So I was like, I mean, it was great to see her
Yes,
again, but it was
yes.
also disappointing. But yeah, so and then I was thinking about it this morning that Dee and my dad actually passed away in the same month of the same year.
Oh, wow.
And so, yeah, so because I was trying to think of where was I when I heard about Dee's passing, and I can't remember because my brain is just so,
Wrapped up in
like,
your own dad's.
right, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. Anything new on the Nichelle Nichols Foundation front that you want to tell us about?
No, other than there were some posts on Facebook about a recent convention with Walter and raising funds for the foundation. But I did speak, there was a Women in STEM event at one of our local schools and yesterday morning, and so I spoke at that and was talking about why the girls should learn how to code even if they aren't planning on going into a traditional STEM field. So I was talking about creativity, and when I mentioned, that kind of my life goal when I was their age was I thought I was going to be an astronaut. I thought that I was going to, you know, um, join the Air Force, become a pilot, then go into NASA, be an astronaut. And then this happened. My poor vision smashed all my dreams. But I told them, but I did play one on TV, so it made it okay. Right. But then I kind of later on talked about the Nichelle Nichols Foundation and how our entire goal with the foundation is to raise funds to help provide STEM opportunities such as space camp for girls. And so I'm coming full circle, where I started, what I wanted to do, and now I'm in a position where I can help support a foundation that will send girls to space camp and give them
That's
that
awesome.
opportunity that I didn't have.
And let's give the web address for people who want to help support it. It's Nichelle Nichols dot I'm sorry, NichelleNicholsFoundation.org. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And do you know how to spell Nichelle? NN, not MM. Nichelle Nichols, 2 L's in Nichelle.
Yeah. Here, let's get the.
I'm sure it's Nichelle Nichols Foundation.
Oh no, it's just Nichelle Nichols Foundation. Here,
no,
I'll put it.
Nichelle Nichols Foundation. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, I don't think I can do.
I can do it. I can do it.
Okay. I was going to say I can put it in the private chat and you can share that.
Well, that's very interesting. I've never heard of it, just Foundation before.
Right? Yeah.
Nichols Foundation. Correct?
Yep.
Okay, that's where to send money. Even if it's $5 a month. I mean, if everybody did it, they'd have everything they need to make that thing happen.
Well, and also, to follow the Nichelle Nichols Foundation on YouTube, because there's a lots of speaker series, and they've been really very good and informative, and So I think that everyone would enjoy seeing the speakers that they've had thus far.
Okay. Okay, we have comments here.
Yes.
Has nothing new about Celestis. Everything I know is everything static quo. They said June or July, but I just looked this morning and they have not anything. They don't have anything announced. So I think if it was going to be June, they would have announced it. Again, they can't, though. They've got like a 10-day window of opportunity because they have to know what the weather's going to be for the next 10 days or so when they do announce it. So I suppose it could happen in June, but I just haven't seen anything official on their website. You can go to celestis.com, though, anytime and keep an eye on that. I think I've got that. It's CELESTIS, CELESTIS.com. And I just looked this morning. There's nothing new there. And the other comment. Good afternoon. There is Michelle Campbell. She will be with us next time.
Yay.
And yes, Helen, it's taking months. It's taking months. It was supposed to be the last quarter of last year, but they ran into some technical difficulties, and they certainly don't want to end up sending it into the ocean. There's a lot of valuable stuff up there. They want to make sure it's supposed to be going. So,
right.
Somebody's on my private chat. Oh, that's you.
That was just me.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I guess I can read a few excerpts out of. You're going to like this a little bit later on, Amy, because Carolyn and I get into talking about computers. She was so technophobic, it wasn't even funny. Carolyn never had a computer. I couldn't get him to get an electronic typewriter to help her. She just had that 1950s thing she was hammering away with her whole life. And I said, oh, you can make it so much easier. And she's just like, no, we went and looked. No. So anyhow, it's pretty funny, some of this stuff. I'll read a few minutes, and then if comments come in, I'll stop. Hey, me, if you see comments come in, stop me. April 30th, 1995, Carolyn called this morning and said she tried calling earlier, but I wasn't back from star polishing yet. She said both she and Dee wanted to congratulate me for the Newsbite article. This Newsbite article I had written for a Warner Brothers newsletter for the MIS department. Management Information Services, computers. Now, first of all, it was a very technical thing, so for Carolyn to call me at all. But it was funny because I was just getting into computers and I was really paranoid about computers. And the name of this article was, if you don't ASCII, ASCII, you don't get ski. Because Carolyn was telling me if you don't ask, you don't get. If you don't ask, you don't get. So I sent it to her because I thought she liked the title more than anything. I didn't expect her to actually read it. But I was in this article, I'm very, very humorously writing about starting to use a computer. I mean, I knew how to type, but then you go in and they say there are all these files and there are all these things. And somebody explaining to me why I want to make files instead of just have everything in one big place. And it's like, well, so, like it's like a physical library. You want to put everything in certain folders so you can find them again later. Anyhow, they're trying to explain all this stuff to me. And I'm very humorously, I'm going, but, and so the whole article is about me, backing into computers because I'm so scared I'm going to get it wrong. I was afraid I was going to hit the wrong button and delete everything. I mean, you know how you are when you first start. I know most of you people probably grew up with them, but we didn't.
Yeah. We have a comment from Lethal Migraine.
Okay. And Lethal Migraine, that is wonderful. Who is Lethal Migraine? I love Lethal Migraine. No, that sounds very painful. My dad was the same way when the government switched from typewriters to computer. He wasn't willing to learn. So the government gave him a pretty sweet retirement. Anyhow, along about the middle of this article, I start to get a little more comfortable. And I said, oh, this is great. I mean, this is really great for a writer. This is absolutely wonderful. I don't have to retype something if I make a mistake. I don't have to go back. If I want to move this thing up to here, I just cut and paste it. I mean, it was just so cool. And I said, you know, I now being getting to know my computer better, it's kind of orgasmic. And of course, everybody on the lot practically were like, I never thought I'd see the term orgasm in a Warner Brothers publication. Absolutely the best thing I ever read, you know. So that's what this is referring to. Both, she said, she and Dee both wanted to congratulate me for the News Bite article. I told her she got the first one hot off the press and that the others wouldn't even be routed until Monday. She said they both thought it was a great article, and she mentioned how proud Mom would be when she saw it. Then she said, and your mother is right, once again, about pulling the old flowers off the plants so the new ones will grow. Listen to your mother. I told her I was out there doing that just yesterday. She said, Dee was out in our yard yesterday, clipping roses off too. He must have filled an entire recycled barrel with them. You know, we have roses in our backyard too, don't you? I told her I didn't remember that. And she said, well, we do. So when he goes after the dying ones, it's a major undertaking. We keep enough uncut so the bushes look and smell nice, though. I told her I had noticed that they have a beautiful garden. I mentioned again that the lilies of the Nile she had given me were all going to bloom this year. And she said, yes, you mentioned that in your letter. How many do you have? I said, yeah, I didn't count, at least 5, possibly 7. She also mentioned that the orange blossoms she gave me should be out soon and beautiful. I told her they hadn't bloomed yet in 2 years. I've had them, but the first year they wound up under the wall that came down in the Northwest earthquake. So that probably stunted their growth or their courage or something. She said they do take a few years to bloom, but when they finally do, they're beautiful. She asked if I wanted to stay put where I am when Kat leaves, but Kat, my roommate, left and went to another part of the valley. I told her I'm planning to stay here at least until Deacon goes to the great circle beyond, because it's real hard finding a landlord who will take a wild animal in the backyard. I told her I'm going to ask for a rent reduction and mention that I wish Gobet would fix the kitchen sink so I wouldn't be embarrassed by it. She said that's the least he could do after 4 years of having such a good renter. She asked how Deacon is. I said, he's very old. He's healthy and happy, but he's winding down. And old age in kitties doesn't last very long, I'm afraid. I told her he's weaker and that I carry him a lot more now. And I told her about how he hugs my neck at night with his paws several times each night. And then I said, I know it's anthropomorphic, but I wonder if he knows that our time together is. She cut me off and said, what's that? Anthropomorphic. I said, I told her it means ascribing human knowledge or emotions to animals, assuming they know what we know and feel what we feel. Oh, I continued, I sometimes wonder if he knows our time together is coming to an end. And that's why he's so much more huggy and kissy than he has been in the past. I noticed that with several of my animals since then, too. They always get a little more, He has always been sweet and loving, but now he's kind of smothery about it. I started to get a little misty and sniffled a little. She noticed and said, it's making me cry too. I'm sorry, I had no idea this was going to happen when I said this subject. Sometimes I can discuss it totally dry-eyed, and other times I get surprised like this. I told her he has been a very special pride of mine, raising a wild cat who is happy and healthy in captivity and well socialized, and that it's rare and beautiful. I added by way of explanation, domesticated animals have been genetically engineered over thousands of years to cope with people. The wild ones are genetically engineered for autonomy and self-sufficiency. She said she understood completely the attachment and pride I feel in what I have accomplished. She just fell in love with Deacon and he loved her right away too. I changed the subject sorta and said, he may be slow and outworn, but his ears are still great. She laughed as I explained how he can hear me opening a can of cat food, just popping the top on a can from 40 feet away. And she said, our little Cheers was like that. You never met her. Told her I hadn't met Fancy either. And she continued, we had a leash that we hung on the light switch in case of an earthquake. And in the morning, Dee would try so hard to lift that leash so she wouldn't hear him and start barking and wake me up, but there was no way he could do it. She'd hear him every time and started barking excitedly about getting to go outside. I told her about Snazzy, our black Labrador retriever, one of our first family pets, and his gun craziness, and how whenever Dad opened the gun cabinet in the fall to signal the start of hunting season, Snazzy would jump 8 feet in the air, knowing he was going to get to go bird hunting again. She said she indeed loved the story about the bootblack at the studio. That's in my book, Floating Around Hollywood, and that the anecdote should go into my next column. She repeated his statement, Missy, I've been polishing shoes at this studio for 45 years. I polished Jack Warner's shoes and I'm going in. She asked how Mom and Dad are. I said, they're fine. She asked if Dad is behaving himself. I said, I think so. Okay, I'm going to jump ahead here because I want to get to the part about the computers. Let's see. I think it's, okay, we'll start here. May 3rd, 1995. Carolyn called this morning to congratulate me on all the compliments I've been getting, even from strangers, on my newsletter, the one I told you about earlier. I told her I was particularly surprised to hear from strangers, that hearing it from friends is super, but when strangers bother to comment, it's somehow really validating, because friends will sometimes say things just to be kind. She said, I hope you don't think we say we like what you write just to be kind. No, I don't. Then I confessed to her that the time in Oakland, when she commented on my comedy routine, I worried that she might just be saying I did a good job of presenting it as an act of kindness. She interrupted and said, oh, no, I didn't. I know that now, but then I wasn't sure until that cable TV guy came up about 45 minutes later and asked me to present it again for his studio audience in San Francisco. That's when I realized you probably weren't just being kind. She said, I don't think we tell you often enough what a terrific writer you are or how much we love your letters, but we do. I told her thank you and assured her that I do know that, and she has told me often. She asked where Kat and I think this is where the computer thing comes in. Dee came on. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, Dee came on and said, morning, Kris. I wanted to add my congratulations on that terrific article and all the comments you've been getting. I said, thank you. I hope I didn't hurt Carolyn's feeling, telling her I get a kick out of hearing this kind of thing from strangers. Oh, no, I don't think so. Then he said, you know, your column will give you exposure there on the lot, and that may lead somewhere. Things like that have happened before. I also think your idea on the book about floating around Hollywood is a great idea. I said, that idea just popped into my head a few nights ago, and I thought that one would fly. Usually when I think of writing a book, it's about a serious subject, but this one would be humor, so it's less daunting to me. He said, well, it's a terrific idea, and you're a terrific writer. And now, as I say in the market, have a good day. Same to you. Where is this thing?
Well, you find that
yes.
lethal migraine, that is Mount Rainier.
That is Mount Rainier, and I put that up because Amy and I are both here.
Mm-hmm.
Amy and I are both here in this neck of the woods. Where is the thing about the computer? I picked it on purpose because I knew. Okay, here it is. Okay. This is kind of funny too. I'll read it first. Carolyn called this afternoon, June 21st, 1995. Carolyn called this afternoon. When I answered the phone, she exclaimed, there you are. I asked if she had tried calling before and didn't reach me, and she said yes, but just once. She called to say she enjoyed the letter and to thank me for the goodies, rice-a-roni and a motion picture television fund information. I said I remembered that she uses rice-a-roni and that I bought it a few months ago and never used it, probably won't. She asked, where did you get it? Pavilions. Really? We thought you must have bought it at one of those big bulk stores. Costco? No, I got it at Pavilions. That's interesting. Will you use it? Oh, sure. It's packaged a little differently than I'm used to. That's all. I said, keep the one with almonds in it away from Dee. She said, oh, he eats it all the time. Nuts don't bother him anymore. He can eat them. Oh, okay. We thought maybe you got the rice-a-roni at that place near where you are that sells in huge amounts. Costco? Price Club? On Sabobada? No, the one down by you on Ventura, this side of Reseda, I think. Oh, I wish I could remember the name of that place. I wish Dee was here to remember for me. She called, honey, waited a few seconds, and then asked him. Then he reported back laughing. And then she reported back laughing. He says it's that place we can never remember the name of. I laughed. Yeah, it's that one. All right. Then she remembers Smart and Final. I remembered it before Dee. She said they were there once and bought some chicken broth in bulk and then found it at a Pavilions for less money. I told her I always thought Smart and Final was the clothing store. She said, no, it's food. So, okay, now we're coming up on this. She asked if I'm busy. I said, I'm right. I said, I was at work. She asked if I'm busy today. I said, I am, but I'm writing the book, not working. I told her it's almost finished, the Floating Around Hollywood. She said, are you writing it in longhand? Here's the computer part. No, I'm writing it at work and at home on computers. When I write it at home, I just put it onto a floppy disk and bring it here to reformat and print for me on the nice laser printer. She said, I didn't understand a single word you just said. I said, think of a VCR. It's like copying an existing program onto a cassette and then taking it to another television and showing it there. She said, I don't do that either, and laughed. I said, fine, Carolyn, and we both laughed. She said, you're so smart about all that stuff. Every time I hear people talking about computers on the radio, I think Kris would understand that. I said, don't be so sure. I don't know as much as you think I know about computers. She says, you're getting pretty technical. I was not. I said, I try once in a while. I listen diligently to everything the guys say around here and figure I'll get it someday by osmosis. I told that to Al one time, and he said, you'll never get it by listening to us. We talk in jargon. I said, oh, great. She said, I guess that's like the fact that you can't learn to type by listening to people talk about typewriters. I said, that's it, exactly. She said, well, don't spoil my illusions. I think you're very smart about those things. I said, bless you. And you're very smart about everything. Oh, no. I said, bless you. And she said, you're very smart about everything. You're a smart girl. At that point, a courier came by and asked me to sign something. I said, hang on, Carolyn. Somebody wants my autograph. She giggled, and the courier said, we all love Kris. I said to Carolyn, did you hear that? He says they all love Kris. Autographs, all day long, every day. She giggled again because she knew all about that. Yeah. Anyhow, every time I drop into one of these things, I could do it for an hour because it just takes me right back.
Yeah. We had a couple of comments.
Okay.
Come in.
Hoping to be there soon. Who are you, Lethal Migraine, if you're coming to Mount Rainier?
Right.
Love driving down I-5 with that bit. Well, somebody in Canada loved driving down I-5 with that beautiful mountain to look at.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
That's somebody in Canada. Well, let's get together.
Yeah.
Migraine is. Who do I know in Canada? Oh, she's on the east coast of Canada. Okay. Anyhow, so tell me who you are. I have to know these people. Please. Did you have any more stories, Amy?
Well, no, just a kind of follow-up story to what you just read about my own mom.
Uh-huh.
So it was so funny because my mom, when I was in high school, we I bought my first computer because it was when, personal PCs were finally being released.
I got my first one in 86.
Yeah, so let's
early.
see. I probably got my first one in 83, maybe 83 or 84.
Okay.
Yeah. So when I graduated from high school in 85, then I went to college, and I started out as a computer science major because I was really into computers even back then.
Uh-huh.
And my mom was just finishing up her education as a computer science major. So she went on to work for, like, she programmed for IBM and PeopleSoft and like these different big companies. She could not program a VCR. Like, mom, you're writing these like lines of code, thousands and thousands of lines of code, and you can't program a VCR. And we kept trying to teach her, and it was so funny. And then when she got her first cell phone, I have this picture of her where, the younger kids are like trying to teach her how to use her cell phone. And I'm like, you're a computer scientist. How do you not know how to do this?
It's just
Oh.
amazing. It is amazing. The things my right side of my brain works absolutely great. But when it comes to analytics and stuff like that, I guess I'm okay. I can balance a checkbook, But what they did during my school years, when I got to what they call now middle school, they switched to something called new math. And I got so completely confused at that point. I did geometry okay because that's spatial, and I grew up in a construction family looking at blueprints and stuff. But A equals B to the square, who you look about, or the somebody leaves St. Louis going 65 miles an hour, and somebody leaves so and so. Where are they going to meet in the middle? And I'm like, oh, please, I just I don't care. We can call each other up every day and say, where are you now? Where are you now? We're closer. Okay, we'll probably meet, somewhere. But, that kind of stuff, anything beyond, I did fine with general math, with adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing.
Mm-hmm.
But when they jumped into the theoretical, I guess it's not theoretical, it's mathematical, it's beautiful. And the people who understand it, it's just like their coolest thing ever. But I'm like, oh no. I stayed after school with my algebra teacher, and I cried. I mean, I tried so hard. I had really good grades otherwise, really good grades. And I tried and tried and tried and cried. And finally she said, I've never seen anybody try anything so hard as you. I'm going to give you an A for, effort, and that'll bring you up to like a C minus or something, And I went home and I was devastated. I just was devastated. And then Mom said, I wasn't going to tell you this, but I'll tell you now. I was exactly the same place as a kid. I did fine in everything else, but she said, you got that from me, girl. I just didn't want to tell you that because I was afraid that it wasn't me, that it, and she said, I didn't want to give you an excuse, but I do want you to know you will do fine without, unless you're going to be a nurse or a scientist or stuff like that, you will be fine. Don't worry about it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the first time in my life I really understood what a learning disability was, because I always thought, well, people are just not trying very hard if they can't get this stuff. This other stuff that I got, like rolling off a log, how can that be so hard? Well, because a certain part of your brain doesn't work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's why Albert Einstein said everybody's a genius, but if you try to teach a fish to climb a tree, they're going to look stupid. You got to find out what it is that person does really, really well and encourage them to do that.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, because everybody has a gift. And don't try to discourage them because it doesn't fall along of what the A, B, C's, and D's. You just work with what you got. And teaching, going to school can also help you decide what you're not good at.
Right. Yes.
And it isn't about you win or you lose or you pass or you fail. It's about what are you good at? What are you passionate about? What's going to drive your curiosity for the rest of your life? What's going to keep you learning all your life? Mm-hmm. And you want to go there. That's where you want to go. You don't want to say, well, I'm done. no more books, you know.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wholeheartedly agree. As a lifelong educator, I wish we did not have grades.
Yeah.
Like, I am not a fan of any kind of grading system because it's all about, you know, curiosity and learning and exploration. And as soon as you start putting grades on it, it becomes about the grade.
If it
And
wasn't, yes, I'm sorry.
no,
If it wasn't for Scholastic, this was before book fairs. I was with Scholastic. Well, when they had the little catalogs they sent to the schools. I think if it wasn't for Scholastic and me finding books that I really, really loved and wanted to read, I probably wouldn't have become as good a reader or as good a student. Because if you ever learn to love reading, your mind is an insatiably curious device and it wants to know more. And as long as you don't hit this hurdle of, oh, I don't read very well, that will carry you throughout your entire life in just amazing ways. So I'm just a huge, huge booster of, you know, find kids books they love to read. Because an awful lot of textbooks are not terribly interesting. If you get a really good teacher, now you get, when I was in middle school, there was our Easter was a week before or after the kids on the coast. And so I went and spent a week with my friend on the coast, and she had a history teacher who was to die for. Absolutely. And the week I was there, he was talking about Abraham Lincoln's assassination and the hunt for, John Wilkes Booth and all the conspiracy theories and all like that. He did such a good job. I felt like I was there. I cried when Lincoln died. I was like, and I thought, well, that's a history teacher. And you find somebody that's passionate about what they do, and it's contagious. And after that point, history in school to me from my teacher was not interesting, but I went and got library books and read, So yeah, I think it's really crucial that school doesn't extinguish the love of learning.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So looking at the comments, Lethal Migraine is working on getting a job in Bellevue. That's exciting.
Okay,
So that's pretty close to us. And then Campbell 3810.
Yes, that's Michelle.
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure it's Michelle. I'm guessing it's Michelle. Please tell me if I'm wrong. But
yeah.
But she will be with us in a couple of weeks if that's Michelle Campbell, and I believe it is.
Well, and it might be because look at her last comment about the EMS.
That's what I get. Yeah, it's definitely her. Yeah, EMS. The doses is for adults, and adults are the same. We have a cheat sheet for pediatrics. Aha. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, there's no. I would be scared to death. It's really funny. I passed the CPR classes. I passed them with 100% every time I've taken them, and I thought if I ever pass them with less, I'll be afraid to do it because it's like, what if I do something wrong? So I'm in awe of you, Michelle, to go out there every single day, not knowing what you're going to run into that day, and just say, hey, I will do this. I mean, your debriefing sessions must be incredible. I think that has to be one of the hardest professions there is, because you go into and you see tragedies. You also see triumphs. Yeah. But just like every other thing, if somebody tells you 9 good things about yourself and 1 bad thing, you're going to concentrate on the bad thing, And I can't imagine. That was another reason I thought Dee said he wanted to be a doctor when he grew up. And I thought right up until he lost a patient.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, if you can save them all, great, but there are people out there every day saving as many as they can. And Michelle is one of those people. And that blesses my socks off. And I'm so, so proud. I know Dee would be proud of you too. But we'll hear her story next time.
Yeah. When, but speaking of Dee in school, did he talk about like what his favorite subjects were, or did he have?
As far as I know, he didn't, and I don't believe it was covered in From Sawdust to Stardust either. He was a good student. He graduated a year early.
Mm.
He was put forward because he graduated. He was smart, you know.
Yeah.
No, he never did mention his favorite classes or anything like that. Yeah. So, did you have another story, Amy, that you wanted to share with us? We don't have to be any longer, but I'd love to.
Right. I don't know if there's anything anyone in the chat wants to hear. Let me know, or anything that they want to talk about.
This is really crucial, guys. Those of you who are listening in, this program really catches spark and goes crazy when you comment and ask questions, because otherwise we're just like, okay, I wonder what else they would like to know about. Please don't feel free to ask anything you want. If we don't want to answer, we'll say, okay.
Right.
Okay. But, anything that isn't like confidential or something, we'd be happy to answer.
Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
I will say, on a completely unrelated side note, but going back to the I-5 discussion, I will be heading north when we're done here to go to the Scrapbook and Stamp Expo in Puyallup.
Oh, all right. Where is that taking place?
At the fairgrounds. Yeah.
So that's today?
Yeah.
From when to when? Is it already underway?
Oh yeah, it's been underway.
Do you have a booth there, or are you just going to get stuff?
Oh no, just going to shop and see some of my like scrapbook friends that live on the other side of the country. And they have booths.
Very cool.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Cool. Well, if you want to stop by my place on your way back, I take you to dinner, or you can meet the chicks, or do anything else you want to.
Oh, that's so nice. Unfortunately, I already have plans for this evening. I have to be back in Lacey by 5, so it's going to be a quick trip.
Well, then we ought to end this so you can get on your way.
Oh,
and it's been an hour, so, and I don't see any more comments coming in, so we could do that. So you can go. I want to thank all of you who came. I know very few people come to this live, but Roger tells me afterwards, people are busy on Saturdays. Mm-hmm. Afterwards, he said, we're one of the highest viewed programs on his network.
Nice.
Like, wow. So I want to thank all of those of you who will come later and see this. And also please share this, because I want people to especially know about this next one. June 17th, we're going to have 8 very special guests talking about what they know about Dee, whether they met him or not, or how they influenced his career, or their ethos, or anything, their values, anything. You know, you don't have to have met Dee to have been inspired by him. But a lot of these people have, other ones haven't, but they feel very, very inspired by Dee. I think it's going to be a wonderful, wonderful hour or hour and a half next time. And Amy is among those who will be doing that.
Very exciting.
Michelle. So please let people know about that June 17th one. And follow me on Facebook so you can, I always send out a reminder so nobody forgets. Yeah. And put it on your Facebook pages that, so that people know. DeForest Kelley fans. It'll be a great, great day, because that'll be right around the 24th anniversary of his passing. That's why we decided to do it. Mm-hmm. So, okay. TV Wanderer, it's 6:30 a.m. Sunday morning, and we're enjoying listening. Well, we're glad you're here. We're glad you're up at this time of morning.
Right. Wow. You got up so early, because you've been on since 5:30. So thank you.
And they were awake before then, waiting for me. She called. She IM'd me and said, "We're awake." I thought, oh, the poor things. Yeah.
That is dedication.
That is dedication.
And Lethal Migraine also said it's because Northwest people are great.
And because Kiwis are great.
Right?
They're the ones getting up. They're the ones getting up at dark 30.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. The world is great.
Yep.
We have people from Russia, people from UK, people from all over coming and visiting with us.
So exciting.
So take care. Thank you again, Amy, for pinch hitting.
Yeah.
We'll see you again in 2 weeks. And
yes.
I'll say goodbye for now. And please share this. Like I said, please share this. Bye-bye.